What is going on, summoners? We're back here today with another champion deep dive. Today, we're talking about Count Nefaria. So, sit back and relax, because it's time to get into it. Count Nefaria enters the contest full of ionic energy, granting him full immunity to power steal and bleed effects. He also has 90% shock and incinerate resistance. When Count Nefaria would perform a well-timed block against a basic attack, he has a 100% chance to evade the hit. This also happens when blocking the final hit of a special with a well-timed block. This evade has a cooldown of 11 seconds. But this cooldown is ignored when evading special attacks. When evading, Count Nefaria counterattacks, dealing a burst of energy damage and inflicting 2 energy buildup debuffs. If the opponent's special is punished after evading it, he inflicts an energy vulnerability debuff for 18 seconds. Now, whenever his opponent fills a bar of power, they gain 15 stored energy. Also, for every 1% of the opponent's max health or power they would gain from a buff or passive, they gain 2 energy. This happens even if the opponent's regen or ability power rates are reduced. And when the opponent reaches 10 stored energy, it's automatically converted into an indefinite energy buildup debuff. Additionally, he gains 10 ionic charges when performing a well-timed block, but he loses 20 when he would be inflicted with a bleed effect by a non-mystic champion. Ionic charges grant a scaling attack bonus, maxing out at 100 charges. They also grant scaling physical, energy, and degen resistance, maxing out at 100 charges. And upon reaching 100 ionic charges, he activates Ionic Overcharge for 17 seconds. While overcharged, all of his attacks are non-contact and deal energy damage instead of physical. Additionally, the opponent's regen and ability power rate are reduced by 95%, and he gains 60% of the power denied in this way. Ionic Overcharge is paused during his special attacks, and he loses 100 once it expires. Now, let's check out his special attacks. On the final 4 hits of his special 1, he devours 2 energy buildups. And for each one devoured, he gains 16 ionic charges, 2% of his missing health, and 9% of a bar of power. With the special 2, on activation, he gains a Fury passive for every 10 ionic charges. These last for 16 seconds and max out at 15 stacks. The final hit inflicts an Incinerate debuff for 6 seconds, but against Mystic champions, he inflicts a Plasma instead. Now, the first hit of any special attack deals a burst of energy damage if it's the first or second hit after his counter attack. The Special 3. At the end of this attack, he gains 50 ionic charges and triggers Ionic Overcharge. He also pauses it for 10 seconds. Now, let's check out his signature ability. When awakened, during Ionic Overcharge, he passively regenerates 80% of the health denied to the opponent due to any reduced regen rate. Also, when the opponent gains 20% of a bar of power from a passive or buff within 0.5 seconds, he instantly gains 50 ionic charges and triggers Ionic Overcharge. This also triggers when they gain 8% of their max health within 0.5 seconds for any reason. Now, let's get nefarious in the champion rotation. To begin, perform a well-timed block to evade and start inflicting your energy buildups. Then, parry to gain ionic charges. While on cooldown, you can still evade the final hit of special attacks, and doing so inflicts your energy vulnerability. From here, launch your Special 1 to devour those energy buildups and enter Ionic Overcharge. Continue evading and punishing the opponent's specials, and then launch your Special 2 to activate your Fury and unlock those big yellow numbers. If the opponent isn't already knocked out, just keep cycling your Special 1 and Special 2 to keep Ionic Overcharge active and keeping those Furies topped up. Now, if you're up against an opponent with passive power gain, triggering Ionic Overcharge will reduce the power by 95% and grant Nefaria 60% of the power denied in this way. And yes, this includes Mystic Dispersion, and that all makes it a lot easier to launch those giant Special 2s and keep those nasty Mystic Defenders at bay. And hey, that 95% reduction also triggers against Regen, and with the Despair Mastery, that Regen reversal can get pretty potent. Also, his Awakened ability allows him to regen up to 80% of the healing denied to the opponent, keeping that health bar as big and yellow as his numbers. Thank you for watching this Champion Deep Dive for Count Nefaria. And hey, if you liked the video and want to see more, click subscribe, like, comment, and share. And if you haven't already, join the official Marvel Contest of Champions Discord and come discuss. And remember, we'll see you in the battle realm.